Hey everybody, welcome back to Yays and Booze. Today we are covering last night's Friday Night SmackDown. Admittedly, not a lot happened. It was just kind of there's only a couple of pieces of big news that we're probably guaranteed gonna talk about today. If you're new to Yays and Booze, it's just hot takes that I give a yay or a boo, which means I agree or I disagree. Before we get started, please make sure you subscribe, leave your comments, hype up the video if you're on mobile, and hit my Patreon in the description for match watch songs. All right, without further ado, let's get started here. Ilya is continuing to show why he is such an amazing wrestler. I know with Ciampa lurking around, Melo wasn't gonna win. I love Ilya's title run. He's been putting on banger matches each week, but Melo is amazing too, and being in the WWE for over a year now, main roster, he deserves a US title run. Hopefully he gets one soon. I don't know if you can tell, but I just put the chair lower. So if I got shorter, that's the chair. Anyway, I'm going to give this a yay. I've really been enjoying Ilya and Ilya's work and coming off of the Sami Zayn US Open title challenge. Now, what I will say, US Open challenge, is it washed? It's a little washed, dude. Okay, I complain a little bit about this on the Twitter machine, but the interferences in the US Open Challenge, dude, again, I know CENA had interferences in his, and I know it's Ciampa, and it's leading to a story. Great. It's leading to a Ciampa versus Ilya match. That's going to be great. Ciampa might win the title off that. Also great. Also, for some reason, we've been teasing a Tama Tonga Ilya feud. I don't know what's going on there with the weird stare downs. That kind of sucks. But the interference in the US Open Challenge felt sacred, especially with Ilya Dragunov. He's such a wrestler's wrestler. I just want to have pure, clean, finished wrestling matches. Does it maybe protect Melo? I don't know. I guess he didn't technically, he lost not in a clean way. I did at least appreciate Ilya, which commentary kind of missed it. Ilya walked back up the ramp. He saw the replay and he was pissed as a face fighting champion. He was pissed that he retained his title off of that BS because of Ciampa. One, I would love a rematch for Melo. I think Ilya's going to be a stand-up fighting champion, but ultimately it's just dumb. Can we have anything? The US Open Challenge is the one guarantee of a pure competitive wrestling match and kind of anything can happen moment in the WWE that, we're I don't know, did I say we're guaranteed? We're guaranteed, maybe. It's something to look forward to, and it just getting ruined by an interference is so lame. I'm not saying Melo should have won. Melo shouldn't have won that match, but I don't know. You can have a clean Ilya win. It's this is what the third week in a row. It sucks, dude. But to the positives, Ilya is fantastic and proving himself that he is, or proving to everyone that he is for sure a top 5 in-ring worker in WWE right now. Carmelo Hayes also fantastic. These two have great chemistry. There'll be a time for Melo. I think commentary, Michael Cole even said this young guy is so good, but is he gonna be one of the greats talked about that has never won a title in WWE? He's so good, but he never won a title. I hope that's not true. I hope Michael Cole didn't say that because that's the plan for him. I don't think that is. He'll get a mid-card title eventually. At this point, I think there's a more somber, or not a jump the gun with that, I guess, but a bigger conversation with Melo is does WWE believe in him? Is Melo the guy? I think he has potential. This is a meme I saw the other day of LA Knight called him the potential man. They're starting to turn Carmelo Hayes into that, where, I don't know, I could go on for an hour about what WWE's been doing to a Carmelo Hayes, and I don't know, it doesn't, I think I'm speaking out of just defeat. You know what I mean? All right, we'll move on. Really solid SmackDown. Best Solo Sikoa promo since he's been on main. It's not a hard bar to start to come off. I feel like I'm coming off negative in this episode already. It's getting a yay. It was really good. I'm not jumping out of my seat for the MFTs versus the Wyatt Six, but I like what we did last night. As much as I do love silly, goofy Solo, it's gonna be fun him leaning into his this is my ring sort of stuff. And the presentation of the Wyatt Six with the lights coming up, Howdy in the ring, which hey, when's the last time we got an Uncle Howdy match, huh? Uncle Howdy and Eric Rowan, for that matter, got physical. Can we get a little applause for that? I don't know if I gave this a yay, but I'll give this a yay for Solo's promo. People were even saying should this have been the War Games match because 2 factions? No, absolutely not. If the people in the men and women's War Games matches this year couldn't put on all-time War Games matches this year within the confines of what WWE is right now, I don't know if the MFTs and the Wyatt Six are going to do it. However, again, the presentation was cool. The Fireflies were out. We got to see Howdy and Rowan go crazy. I love that. As much as I'm not super bought into Tama Tonga, the standoff between Tama Tonga and Eric Rowan got me, dude. Just two classic wrestling big tall guys slapping each other around. So I'm open-minded. Again, not just come off negative to start this out, but I am open-minded to this. There are talented wrestlers in this feud. And yeah, shout out. So Solo's also coming off of having the best match of his career against Gunther, so he's riding a high. Hopefully we can take that momentum in a lot of ways into this feud, and maybe we'll get some cool stipulations combinations, new matchups. Again, I want to see, my whole thing has kind of been, I want to see Uncle Howdy wrestle. And I, like Solo Sikoa said, or, you know, stealing a whatever, I believe that it'll... All right, next one. I feel like despite Gunther being a monster and all around amazing, I feel like he is getting pushed too much. It would have been more enjoyable seeing Carmelo Hayes get that CENA match instead. Gunther has already been in the main event for almost 3 years and doesn't have much to prove. It's not quite this, but it's a tad like, my lobster's too buttery. I don't think like 3 years of being in the main event, which isn't like entirely true. I don't think there's a cap on that. Gunther is one of the best. You even said it. He is one of the best. He deserves to be on top and in that main event spot. Now, yes, I also agree that someone new and young and someone that could lead the next generation in a Carmelo Hayes should be getting opportunities and moments like this early in their career. However, that's just me kind of speaking in a generalized sense. If we're talking specifically the CENA match, yes, I do think Melo would have been a good and correct answer. Boston guys, again, CENA putting over the younger talent. It would help Melo out tremendously. That's kind of also in the spirit of what John wants Saturday's main event to be. However, you can also look at the positives. Like there can and could have been multiple right answers. I'm not just because Gunther won doesn't mean that was like the only right answer, right? I think we have to realize like just because someone lost doesn't mean that like now Gunther is the wrong answer. Does that make sense? I'm kind of fumbling my words here. Gunther is this dastardly heel. He's still to the main roster like fairly fresh in terms of being in that main event spot. I know you said 3 years, but like he hasn't really consistently been in that main event spot 3 years. His push has honestly been a little stop and go, especially with like the J losses, and there was some other spots that like maybe he could have won. So like he hasn't consistently been put at that spot for 3 years. If it's obvious, I don't know if I said it yet, but this is getting a boo because I do disagree. I think if you have a performer like Gunther who's great in this heel role and he's a very classic 80s monster heel, you put him in that spot and he delivers every single time. So I don't think we should just be like, oh, like he's had the world title for a little bit and like, you know, he had that great IC run. Enough of Gunther. Like we're done with him. Like I don't understand that thinking. I think he has a lot more time to be great and he should be put on that pedestal to be great. Now, the internet's been like, you know, turning on him because he was the obvious pick to face CENA, but I always say, especially on the pod, just because it's obvious doesn't mean it's bad. He's kind of perfect. It's very classic, like prime CENA in that like 2010s, even pre-2010 spot where he's facing these like big monster heels and he's like the Superman babyface, over the moon babyface. And I love the storytelling of Gunther being like, John, watch how I win this match. He made LA Knight tap. John Cena's whole mantra is never give up. So the whole story here is going to be Gunther trying to make him tap or pass out. I think that's what we're going to see at the end of the match is John Cena either tapping out or passing out. Giving up either because he passes out and that's the end of his career and his body finally, you know, gave it up, or he taps out and on his own free will taps out, gives up and ends his own career. I think that's an amazing story, and I don't think you're getting that with Melo. Now, sure, you could have got another good story with Melo, but I don't feel like dogging on the Gunther choice just because there were other options, while multiple options were correct. And you said he doesn't have much to prove. I just like I'm not really sure what you mean. Like, if someone gets a world title, like are they done? If they main event a little bit, are they done? He's never main evented at WrestleMania. And not to jump ahead, there's another hot take in here calling him a legend killer and comparing him to Randy. I guess I'll pause here and we'll get to that when we get to it. But I really like Gunther being this new monster and retiring these legends. He retired Goldberg. Now he's going to retire Cena. That's so cool. So now on his record, he can say, I retired Goldberg. I retired Cena. I retired Randy Orton in the future. Maybe he retires, I don't know, he retires a bunch of other people. I think that'd be cool. And to get it out of the way, yes, Gunther is 38. He's closing on 40. He's not the youngest guy. He's not the freshest guy. He's not nearly as young as a Carmelo Hayes, right? And that's where I do agree. And I've always said this, the WWE has a problem with not pushing their new young stars, not giving them accolades young, thus creating a problem for themselves down the road. Like, I agree with all of that. However, in the current landscape of WWE, in terms of top stars, Gunther is younger and he is a lot more new than a lot of people on the main roster, and he still has a long time to go at 38. Solo's promo shit on Braun's promo. Now we're just lying. This is a boo. Now we're just making stuff up. Now we're just looking at ourselves in the mirror and lying. That's crazy. Okay, here's what I was talking about earlier. Gunther being this era's legend killer is a great move. It honestly fits him more than it did Randy because of how much super villain energy he gives off. I like to see him retire more people beyond Cena. It'll make him seem like an unstoppable monster. Okay, I mean, well, okay. Ultimately, I'm giving this a yay. I guess I did kind of cover this more than I thought. Where I do disagree, though, is that, again, things don't need to be so black and white, and there doesn't always need to be like one correct answer or whatever. Saying it fits him more than Randy, I think is blasphemy, dude. That young legend killer Randy was so sick, and it fit him just as well as it would fit a Gunther for different reasons, and both can be right. I'm not trying to like harp on that one thing you said, but that young Randy legend killer being, especially when he started, to get into a little deeper into his career with like the punt and like, I don't know, it fit him so well. I don't think we need to disregard that great work that Randy did, while it also really fits Gunther in such a new way, where like Randy was like this new young guy. I'm getting the old guard out of here. I'm better than everyone. Gunther, not as young, is just a dominant monster. He is just a wrestler. He just wants to be the best and be a decorated wrestler, superstar, prove that he is the best wrestler on the planet. And in doing so, he's going to retire all these legends and be like, hey, that's, again, in a similar way of Randy, I'm going to get rid of the old guard. I'm the guy now. But again, I think there's like some differences. They work for both. But yes, I do like the idea of Gunther being this like unstoppable monster. Everybody's afraid of. Maybe he goes on like a ton of like, career versus career match or something. I don't know. My worry with this is that, the internet's has already done it with his push through this tournament. The internet's going to turn on him. People are going to turn on him just because he is pushed so much. And I understand this is a niche, part of the fan base that I am focusing on. But as we've seen, if it's not the random obscure guy that hasn't been on Raw in 8 months that the internet has chosen for that week, they don't like him. Gunther, are we forgetting who Gunther is? I think that's been like a big discourse. Are we forgetting who Gunther is? Gunther is one of the best wrestlers on the planet. He has been so consistent and that great for so long, and now just because it's not like LA Knight or Karrion Kross or, I don't know, Tozawa for some, people are Otis, you know what I mean? And I love Tozawa and Otis, but you know what I mean? Just like a random person, just a random wrestler the internet shows. Now we're all turning on Gunther because it should have been this person, should have been this person. I'll tell you this, LA Knight was the wrong choice. LA Knight would have been, by a large margin, especially compared to Gunther, the wrong choice to face CENA in his last match. I'll say that right here. Carmelo Hayes would have been a solid choice, but admittedly, and it's more of a WWE thing, WWE would fumble that, and I do think it would still be not as good of a choice as Gunther. Gunther is the best choice, and there are other good choices. That's what I was saying before, but I don't think I'm just so annoyed with people being like, it shouldn't be Gunther, this great wrestler who's built himself up, built his character up. It should be this random guy in catering who's just like, okay, but I've chosen it. Whatever. I'm too much. I'm being too much. I recognize that. We'll move on. I will end on a more positive note. I didn't expect to come into this episode just being like, no, you. The women's tag division has been arguably the best thing about WWE. Give me a 8-woman ladder match between Kabuki Warriors, Lash and Nia, Charlotte and Alexa, and Raquel and Ross. This is getting an outstanding yay. I've said it in videos past. I'm not going to be a dead horse here, but the women have been carrying the WWE not only recently, not only just in this tag team division, but in all of 2025. They've been the highlight of the in-ring, promos, storytelling, it all. I talked about this, whatever it was, last episode or a couple episodes ago. Look at this roster. Asuka, Kairi, Lash Legend, who has just been tremendous so far, being on the main roster. I know, she was in War Games, but I like a lot of her character work. Her coming out with Nia, she looked very dominant. She has a great boot to her. Charlotte and Alexa, what more to say? Charlotte is on a whole new run with her career, and Alexa's still killing it. Raquel and Roxy, Raquel not so much, but like Roxy, the newcomer to the main roster, they are more inexperienced than the other people. I guess Lash is like still pretty new to the main roster too. Very new. Anyway, that's all besides the point. The talent here, dude. And I love that they, as they should, because there's only one set of women's tag titles, they're floating around, continuing these stories and feuds across both brands. It's really entertaining. Sometimes I don't love all the interferences, like the main event of Raw that had like the great tag match, then we got the interference. Like, everything's not all sunshine and rainbows, but in the current landscape we're in, the woman, and specifically the women's tag team division right now, is a bright, shining light in the WWE in all aspects. All right, folks, this is where I'm going to end it here. Thank you for joining for Yays and Boos. I appreciate it. Please check out all my other videos. I made a really cool video that I think it's cool, that I wrote about WWE losing the spirit of War Games. It's a nice, real, like, typed out think piece, and I'm really proud of it. Following everything, you know what to do, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for being here. Peace.